Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're jumping into a source that, on the surface, it really looks like a deeply personal journal entry.
hmm
But when you start to unpack it, it turns out to be this powerful manual for, like, structural alignment and intentional living.
It really does. We're looking at the final post, day 13, from Frederica Carrier's 13 Days of SNEACful Gifts Simple Gratitude series.
And this is a really unique source, right? Because she's not just reflecting on her day.
No, not at all. She's actually building a methodology. I mean, you have to remember who she is. She's the SNEAC infrastructure pioneer. Her whole world is about helping people and organizations find clarity through deliberate alignment.
That's such a critical point to make right at the top, because we can't really get into this without understanding that SNEAC itself is this complex system is designed for organizational structure and efficiency.
Exactly. She's an expert in scaling complex systems.
Yeah.
Which is what makes her use of these like super simple daily observations so compelling.
Totally. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how she takes this simple daily gratitude and links it, like, directly to a pretty life-altering acronym, one that aligns motivation and purpose.
And we're going to trace that whole journey from this feeling of melancholy that her series is ending to this big realization about gratitude. And then finally, this framework she builds around a very unexpected household item.
Let's start right where she begins then, with that very human reaction to change. She mentions feeling a little bit of sadness that the 13 days are over. She even writes, "Cue sad face, no more gratitude posts."
It's so relatable.
It is. It's that immediate regret that something good is ending.
But she doesn't stay there, which is key. She almost immediately uses that sadness as a pivot. She says she kind of laughs at the idea that gratitude could be contained in a series of posts.
Right, as if it could just stop.
Exactly. And that realization is, I think, crucial to her whole framework. Because if you feel sad when the posts end, you're treating gratitude like it's an external thing, not a permanent state you can access.
Which leads right into the core message of the whole piece, that gratitude is, and I'm quoting here, always there waiting for us to reach for it.
The lesson isn't in the documentation. It's not about the posts.
It's about choosing to access the feeling itself.
Right. And the source is super clear on this. The method of acknowledgement, whether you share it on social media, write it in a journal, or just think it quietly, it doesn't actually matter for the outcome.
The power is in the intentional obtaining of that feeling. That's the part that's transformative.
And what's the ultimate prize for that? She claims that obtaining it, that feeling, has the power to affect the very trajectory of my life journey.
Which is a huge claim.
It's a massive claim.
It frames gratitude not as just some fleeting emotion, but as a mechanism for, like, course correction in your life.
Well, it's the difference between feeling good for a minute and building real momentum for the long haul. And that's where her SNEAC expertise really comes through.
She's applying structural thinking to her own life.
Totally. You need a consistent mechanism to make sure your life's structure stays aligned and doesn't just, drift. And for her, simple gratitude is that daily alignment check.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Let's focus on the practical, almost biological power she's talking about. Because she doesn't just leave this as some abstract idea.
No, she grounds it right in physical reality. She really emphasizes the practical benefit over just, the fuzzy emotional sentiment.
And she has that amazing line about the smile, the one that changes the very biological and physiological chemistry of our bodies.
Yeah.
That's just fantastic.
It really is. It takes gratitude out of the realm of, philosophy and puts it squarely into applied science.
Yeah, applied behavioral science.
It does, because when you intentionally choose gratitude or you even just force a smile, you're literally sending a signal to your nervous system.
You're triggering something.
You're triggering the release of neurotransmitters, things like dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals, which physically counteract stress hormones like cortisol. It's not a mental trick, it's biochemical feedback.
So it's actually lowering your heart rate, your muscle tension.
Instantly. It's preparing your body for a more productive state.
So she's not just suggesting you feel good. She's giving you a mechanism to physically reset your whole internal baseline. And then she translates that chemical power into these really accessible actions you can do right now.
That's the key. How do you trigger that reset when you're, mid-task and feeling completely overwhelmed?
Right.
She offers 2 really specific, tangible techniques that need almost no time or resources.
I love how available they are. You don't have to block out an hour on your calendar. You just need to interrupt the loop you're stuck in.
And the first one is a perfect example of embodied cognition, using a physical action to change your mental state.
The act of making a paper airplane at your desk and tossing it into the air.
That physical break is so important. It just shatters that cycle of stress or rumination. When you totally switch tasks, you're engaging your fine motor skills to fold the paper, and you force your brain to focus on something that's, well, not stressful.
And the act of tossing it. That's the release, right?
That's the release. It's a literal reset button on your mental flow, a microdose of distraction.
Yeah, it just clears the mental whiteboard.
And the second example is just as accessible, but it serves a slightly different purpose. It's the place on the wall that you allow yourself to use to reset, refresh, and regain momentum.
So if the paper airplane is about release, this feels more like anchoring.
It's anchoring, exactly. You're
Yeah.
designating a physical location, a neutral space, to do a deliberate mental adjustment. It's like a mindful timeout.
It's a core SNEAC concept, isn't it? Defining and sticking to structural boundaries.
That's it. By setting up that spot, you create a psychological barrier between the stressor and your response. You use that visual anchor to do the internal work and re-access that positive chemistry we were just talking about.
It all reinforces her belief that the ordinary is always around us. The tools are always there.
Which means the framework for success and alignment is also always available. And that leads us perfectly to the ultimate object of gratitude for day 13. She's talked about chemical transformation, structural resets, life trajectory. So what unbelievably complex item did she choose for her final post?
Okay, here's where it just gets so wonderfully unexpected. After all that high-level talk, the object of gratitude for day 13 was a mop.
A simple, ordinary mop.
A mop.
It's almost funny until you realize how structurally perfect the analogy is for what she's building.
She sets up the story, right? She was mopping her own floors, and she had this realization that the task was more than just cleaning. The insight wasn't about the act, but about the tool.
Right, the presence and the utility of the tool. She realized she had the right tool to clean a mess, to change this floor.
And that simple, just profound observation is what sparks the entire framework. The mop changes from a cleaning device into a concept, a tool for life alignment.
It's the genius of it, synthesizing these simple living observations with these really strategic thought structures. And the M.O.P acronym just crystallizes right out of that action.
Yes, so let's get into it.
She defines it so clearly for us. M.O.P stands for motivated, opportunity, and purpose.
Let's break down the mechanics of the analogy first. So, in the physical world, she needs motivation to even start mopping.
Right.
The opportunity is the messy floor. And the purpose is a clean floor.
Exactly. And the action itself is a perfect little system check. If you don't have M, motivation, the floor just stays dirty.
And if you don't have O, opportunity, like the floor is already clean, then mopping is just pointless.
And if you lack P, purpose, if you don't know why you're doing it, the whole effort has no direction. All three have to be aligned for it to work.
On the floor and in your life.
On the floor and in your life structure, yes.
So it's not just about defining the terms, it's about defining the alignment.
Yeah.
The core equation she finds is that when she is motivated in her life for the right opportunities, it automatically aligns her into her purpose.
It becomes a formula for intentional decision-making.
Wow.
Think about it in the SNEAC context. When organizations or leaders face, decision paralysis, it's almost always because one of these three areas is out of alignment.
Oh, that's interesting.
They might be super motivated, but they're chasing the wrong opportunity. Or they have a great opportunity, but the team has no collective motivation to actually get it done.
Yeah.
The M.O.P structure instantly tells you what's broken.
Which makes the analogy so scalable. She even talks about the physical limits, saying she uses different mops for different floors, but it's still fundamentally a M.O.P tool. She's kind of heading off any skepticism about complexity.
That's her proof of concept for scalability. She says, and this is a direct quote, "Doesn't matter which room, what type of floor I'm mopping, same tool, same outcome."
So the M.O.P framework is universal. It works for a personal health goal, or for leading a team, or for deciding on a new product.
The alignment principle holds true no matter the scale.
Okay, so let's focus on M.O.P in a more strategic context, especially with her connection to hashtags like #future-of-work and #leadership. How does this simple little framework serve high-level strategic planning?
Well, it acts as an incredible filter. In the future of work, you're just dealing with an insane amount of data, constantly shifting priorities. Leaders get caught up chasing every single opportunity they see.
Why? Shiny object syndrome.
Exactly. The MOP framework forces a critical analysis. Is this opportunity actually aligned with our core purpose? And do we have the internal motivation, the drive, the resources, the belief to see it through?
And if any of those are missing.
If any of those variables are missing, the project is just destined to create more mess than clarity.
It turns decision-making into a kind of triage process.
Mm-hmm.
If you have high motivation but low purpose alignment, you're just busy. You're not productive.
You're just spinning your wheels. And if you have a great opportunity and a clear purpose, but nobody's motivated, then you're just paralyzed by potential. Nothing happens.
So for you, the listener, if you're thinking about a career change or a new project, applying MOP just saves so much time and energy.
100%. Before you commit, you have to ask, does this decision really serve my highest purpose? Is my motivation sustainable? Is the opportunity real and accessible to me right now? If the answers all line up, you've found your structural footing.
This analysis gives so much context to her final conclusion, which links her personal life right back to her professional work. Life is less messy when I MOP.
That is the structural thesis statement of the whole piece. A less messy life in her world that translates directly to greater efficiency, less cognitive load, and sustained effectiveness.
So she's arguing that by consistently aligning these three things, you just get rid of all the friction, all the misdirected effort, the chasing opportunities that don't serve your actual goals.
Right. And when we connect this all the way back to her first premise, that simple gratitude changes our biological chemistry. The MOP becomes the tool that sustains that positive chemical state. You feel more purposeful, which then reinforces your motivation, which creates this continuous positive feedback loop.
It's self-reinforcing clarity.
It is. The whole 13-day journey moves from a micro-intervention, the smile, the paper airplane, to a macro framework, the MOP. But it's all rooted in simple, intentional recognition.
She's showing that the most powerful structural tools, they don't have to be complicated.
Not at all. They just need to be consistently applied.
And that's why she included those hashtags. Hashtag simple living right next to hashtag leadership. She's explicitly telling us that high-level leadership flows directly from managing the simple structure of your own daily life.
The ability to manage a complex organization requires the ability to identify the right tool for the job. And in the chaos of modern work, the Mop the structure of MOP is that right tool for cleaning up strategic confusion.
It's such a powerful invitation, and she directs that question right at you, the listener, as her final call to action. What will it be you the next time you need?
She's urging all of us to just operationalize this framework immediately. Don't wait for some grand vision. Start with the next messy decision you have to make.
What a journey. I mean, we started this deep dive with that feeling of sadness that a good routine is ending. But we quickly found that gratitude is permanent and chemically powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that these tiny interventions, a paper airplane or just a spot on the wall, can reset our entire physiological state.
And ultimately, we pulled out a scalable 3-part alignment: structure, motivation, opportunity, purpose all, from her just observing a simple household mop.
It's a remarkable synthesis. It shows that true structural effectiveness really comes from clear internal alignment.
It really does. When you find the right tool for the mess in your life, you're choosing intentional action over just accidental drift. And that foundational clarity is what truly transforms the trajectory of your journey.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, here is a final provocative thought for you to consider, something to mull over that builds on what we've just analyzed. Frederica Carrier found her structural metaphor, the MOP, in a mundane cleaning tool because it represented the intentional application of effort to remove a mess.
So if simple gratitude can physically reset your body, and the most ordinary objects can become these powerful tools for strategic alignment, what hidden, routine, or maybe previously overlooked tool in your current environment, could be your coffee maker, your garden hose, maybe even a sticky note, what object holds the key to clarifying your specific motivation, opportunity, and purpose? What is the physical thing just waiting to become your personal structural framework?
Happy journey.
Happy journey.